Today on the Transplant Helper, I want to talk to you about a very important subject if you are a post-transplant patient. So go ahead and stay tuned.
Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to become part of the Transplant Helper community.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Merle, and today I'm going to be talking with you for just a few moments, really reminding you about something that is extremely important if you want to live the best life possible, the best, highest quality of life, and really the longest life possible post-transplant. Now, I know many of you were like I was, and the moment you got your transplant, even though there may have been some difficult days, bumps in the roads, the automatic assumption to you, at least, was this is the new beginning. This is the beginning of a new life where I'm not going to have many worries, if any, where I'm not going to have to be stressed. I'm going to be able to get up and go and, do whatever it is I want to do in life. And I'll say this, for the most part, that's probably been exactly what my life has been about. Things have not been perfect. I've had several bumps in the road, several issues with my blood pressure, with my liver, on occasion with my kidneys. Had to have my aortic valve replaced a year or so ago. So there's been a few bumps in the road that have caused some difficulty. I've had other issues that were non-heart related that I had to get worked on, where I was having some dizziness, some double vision. There's just been a handful of problems here and there, along with the fact that being immunosuppressed, oftentimes we're going to catch everything, all the colds, all the viruses, all the flus. We're going to be susceptible at least to that, and so things are not going to be perfect. And so because of that, I've always tried to remind myself and also share with you as well that transplant is a treatment, not a cure. Now, certainly it was somewhat of a cure for my stage 4 heart failure because for these 7.5, almost 8 years, I wasn't in stage 4 heart failure. However, it's not an end-all and be-all. For every issue you had prior to transplant, there's a possibility that other issues could arise post-transplant. Therefore, I would say again, transplant is a treatment and not a cure. Now, it's a good treatment. It's certainly a blessing. It's certainly, a gift from God. There's no doubt about it. I'm appreciative of my gift. But again, there are always going to be some bumps in the road. That brings me to where I am right now in life. I'm like most of you, and that is since about this time last year, roughly February-ish, late March, I've pretty much been on lockdown. The whole coronavirus, COVID-19 mess, whatever you want to call it, has pretty much kept us on lockdown and therefore changed a lot about our lives. I used to be much more active than I was. I used to be getting out and going, constantly in and out of the hospitals, visiting patients, spending time, being a mentor, being an educator, doing what I love to do. And for the most part, all that face-to-face type interaction is gone because the restrictions at the hospitals, particularly at the transplant centers, they're such that I just can't get out and do that. There are other things such as the amount of exercise I used to get. Even aside from that, I used to get out and walk purposefully. Used to, try to do some things to stay healthy. I used to watch what I eat a little bit more because, again, I was, in total control of that. But during this whole pandemic lockdown situation, that's gotten lax. Instead of me eating a cheeseburger, a chili dog, and a pizza once in a blue moon, I probably eat that about once a week now. So that brings me all the way around to telling you the truth about me and reminding you of something very important. The truth is, although you may not can tell it on camera always, I've gained about 20 to 25 pounds. Never been one to gain weight, but being stagnant and not eating properly, I've gained some weight over the past year or so, and that's made it difficult. As a matter of fact, I've started having some issues with my heart, keeping its rhythm. Sometimes I've got a very low heart rate, which is called a bradycardia. Sometimes a faster heart rate, some blood pressure issues, some dizziness, leaning over, bending over to pick up something and nearly passing out. Kind of the same heart failure-ish type symptoms like I had prior to transplant. It's kind of, in a sense, I'm almost afraid that things are starting over again. However, I know that most of this is related to the fact that I picked up some weight and I made it harder for my heart to function. I made it harder for my heart to work. So it's time to get back in shape. It's time to get to doing something. And I was sitting around the other night, however, and thinking about that, and I thought, Jim, you need to do something. You need to exercise more. But then when I get up to do something and exercise more, I get winded. I get fatigued. I get, dizzy, whatever. And so it started to remind me about a terrible cycle that many of us have been in before, not always our fault, but have been in before or potentially could be. And that is a place in life where your failures, whatever they are, have gotten to the point where exercise is more difficult, where it's harder to do. And even though I know I would feel better if I lost 20 or 25 pounds, it's hard to do that when you can't move as well. When you go to walk that mile like you wanted to, and you walk 500 feet and you have to sit down. So here's what I need to remind myself of, and you as well. And I particularly want to remind you before you get in the situation I am, or where you get in the situation where you once were. It's time right now. It's time right now, today, this moment, to be consistent. That's our word, consistent. We have to be consistent. If you wait until you've gained 25 pounds or 30 pounds or however many pounds you may or may not gain, if you wait till you've gotten to that point and you start feeling bad and you start feeling weak and you start having issues and you start having to be tested and go in like I'm about to go in for pulmonary function test, or you start like I am having to wear a heart monitor for a month, if you get to that place, I'm not saying you've gone too far, but you've gone farther than you wanted to go. You've got to be consistent. So I don't care who you are, what you're doing today, and I'm looking in the mirror to say this. I don't care who you are, what you're doing today. If you're a post-transplant patient, you need to get up off the couch and you need to walk. You need to get up, and I don't care if you have to pace up and down the hallway of your home, wherever it is you live. If you have the opportunity, go outside, walk the streets, walk like I do through the woods, do something. And when you get back, don't reward yourself with a chocolate sundae and a chili dog like I've been doing. You eat right. You do right. You take your medicine on time, every time, and in the right way. You be consistent with everything. Not only will that help you to stay healthy, but that'll prepare you for a time when maybe for some outlying reason, you're not going to be as healthy. When maybe it's because of age. I mean, I'm also almost 8 years older now than I was time of transplant. So things are age is taking over. I got to stay ahead of that. You've got to stay ahead of that. You've got to keep pushing, keep driving, and be consistent. Again, our word for today, be consistent, because the time to take care of yourself is now. You don't want to be like so many of my friends have been. Right now, I've got a good friend, won't say his name, but if he could just lose 35 or 40 pounds, he could get on the transplant list. But the problem is he can't lose it, or he hasn't been able to lose it, because he can't even get up out of the couch, off the bed, or off the couch. I don't want to get to that. I'm not to that, but I don't want to get to that. So I want to remind you again, as I look in the mirror, be consistent. The time to take care of yourself is now. We call that in the South heading it off at the pass, getting ahead of things, keeping yourself 2, 3, 4 pounds lower probably, or down from your average weight or your desired weight. Staying consistent. So, I want you to challenge me. I want you to challenge me. Challenge me in the comments right now. Say, Jim, push yourself. Jim, do it. Jim, drop 20 pounds. Jim, eat right. Jim, take care of yourself. Take better care of yourself. Forget the pandemic. You can still take care of yourself. Is it more difficult? Yeah. Do I have the opportunities I usually do? Again, walking around the hospital, no, I don't have that. But I've got to find a way. So I want you to encourage me to take care of myself. Now, look at me. Look right here. I want you to take care of yourself as well. Be consistent today. The time is now. Thank you so much for joining me today, and until next time, stay stronger, friends.